father. There we go. Now
Ooh, daddy. Inches bitch podcast with Tony Sawyer, a.k.a. Democrat.
I would like to just say for the record, it is like middle left leaning. It's not full, no socialist.
you're so far left, you're gone.
I just think that the left has better. I don't want to get more into. Well, let's do. Are we doing gender? Is that what we're doing?
You're so far left, you're gone. It's okay.
Alrighty, let's do gender. There's only 2 genders.
Okay.
When did this happen? When it's not, sex and gender is 2 different things.
It's always been a thing. It's just
No. It's not always. I looked this up, so it's not always.
What's the
So
thing?
I'd love to know
Okay,
what your
I'm
always
sorry.
is.
If I'm not saying I hate using absolutes. It's not that it.
No,
always,
you don't. You love data and graphs.
Yeah, but that's not absolutes.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Oh, it's not?
Data's not absolute.
Man, I can't wait to go back to some of our other conversations
We
after
can.
that comment.
Well, I'm saying when I say absolute, I mean I don't. Okay, so like when I say absolute, I mean like I don't like saying things always happen or things never happen. Like because there's too much gray. Like the world is not black and white. So that's why I would say like there's not always 2 genders. Like in the sense of like there's we have one valid definition for this, one valid definition for this. Like that's not how
Yeah. You're
I
good.
would argue like the world works.
Yeah. And by the way, cheers.
Hell yeah.
Old fashions all around.
Hell yeah.
Poured them in the break. Hey, can you please not put the... can you please cut out the break this time?
I would agree. Oh no, you're fine.
Oh yeah, I
Okay.
need to.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
already cut it. It wasn't recording.
I know. Well, you got a
Cut
little
it.
bit. Just a
Cut
little
it.
bit.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'll make it pretty.
Okay.
Make it pretty. Like my
He's
cat.
got his new program, so he's loving it right now.
That's
Because
good.
episode 6 had a whole like intro to it with the space
shit.
stuff coming in, and
Now there's plugins I can download. Some of them are free. Some
Oh,
of them I
shit.
pay for.
oh man,
It's gonna be great.
so 2 genders.
Yes.
Okay.
So I didn't know that gender and sex was 2 different things.
Yeah.
To me, it was the same thing.
There wasn't really like it wasn't like a social thing that was really recognized. I mean,
But-
it's like it's been recognized at times like in the past, but like it's not. It's kind of been more recent because it's something that's like it's been something not always, but like we have had like the 2 different words, but they've just been so close when applied to us. We've always usually applied it in a biological sense of like, okay, this is like something that's like a male, female, and like
Right.
this is the gender in like a different species.
Mm-hmm.
But like from right now in our current like social age, it's kind of more they've split because they had 2 different definitions, but they've just been recognized more because they're not looked at as one and the same as much. That's what I would say. Because like you have like your 2 Venn diagrams, like they've always just kind of been like over each other for the most part. There's maybe been like a little bit, but like as it goes, like this is like where this is black and white. But like the more we go out,
The more we get crazy,
well, not crazy. The more we learn about like how brains work, how neurology works, like how all the
how broken brains work.
well, I mean that's not true. Like we do learn more about how broken brains work. I don't know if it necessarily applies in this specific circumstance. When you say broken, do you mean just what do you mean by broken?
I shouldn't say broken, but
Well, because I mean, like if you mean broken isn't like not normal, then like I would agree with
I
that.
kind of think
Like being
it is.
like if you're 1% of a population for anything, you're not normal. But
Right.
like, I mean, but that just comes with a negative connotation
Yeah, no, I shouldn't.
because
sound
people
negative.
want to be normal. See, like we're already getting there. PC. There we go.
There's no such thing as normal.
So
Well, that's not
so,
true. What do you mean there's no such thing?
So
Just because the
What-
dictionary gave it a definition doesn't mean that everything is normal, or you could be normal, or I could be normal. You could be normal, Tony.
Uh-huh.
But-
So if I take my pants off right now and I just run down the street naked, I'm not going to get any looks if people saw me.
my kid does it.
I'd
all the
record
time.
it.
Okay, but I'm not
It'd be
asking what
funny.
you do. I'm asking how would society react with a naked Tony running down the street?
You would be in jail
Yeah, why? Because that's not
because nobody wants to see your
Indecent
genitals.
exposure.
Yeah, but if I just like ran with my
No, that's
clothes
not
on-
normal. It's a law. That's a difference.
Well,
it's
yeah,
not that
but-
it's not normal.
But
It's
that's
a law.
how we enforce like normality is through laws.
But everybody was naked at one point before clothes became a thing.
Yeah,
There was no laws then.
yeah. But
So
now we do
created laws. Why?
to enforce normality, normal standards. We don't. It's not normal. It's not
That's
a
a-
normal.
that's
I wouldn't
a-
say it's a normal human behavior to go out and kill someone. So we want to prevent that. It's not normal to go and rob someone because it's like we're human. We're social creatures. The average person isn't going to feel good doing that. They don't want to necessarily do that.
But
They
it
might-
was normal at one point.
Well, yeah, but like because of society was different. There's different standards that flow throughout the like throughout time. Like what we view as normal is different than what England currently right now views as normal, which is different than what America viewed as normal 5 years ago.
So
10
then
years
there's no
ago.
normal. There's no
It's-
such
well, no,
thing as
it,
normal.
it just changes with the time. It's not objective. It's relative to where you're at. It's not absolute. It's relative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's no such thing as normal.
Not objective normal.
We adjust.
But there is like there is a
We're changing
level.
things to create normal,
Yeah.
but there's no such thing as normal.
Well, you're changing things to create nothing, because you're saying normal is nothing, but you just said we're changing things to create normal. So are we creating things to create nothing?
No,
We're
no, we're
creating something.
creating normal.
Yeah,
We're creating what our
So it's there.
definition that
Yeah.
we created
Yeah.
to be normal.
which exists because
We created a normal definition. There's a definition
Yeah.
to normal.
Yeah.
So we created that.
Yeah.
We,
Yeah.
as people,
Yeah.
have created that
socially
definition.
manufactured 100%.
Yes.
Yeah, that doesn't make it not true though, or not existent. That just means that it's like socially made. That doesn't make it more or less true, or more or less false. That just means it's still there.
So
it exists.
Why is YOLO in the dictionary now?
That what does that have to do with anything? I'm not like my standard isn't by like what Webster defines as a word. I go by like social standards of how like we use it usually. Like if I'm trying to be a pedantic asshole, then I'm gonna be like, well, what's this like specific definition? But like if it's like important to that, but we're not really arguing against like that it has a definition. We're arguing over its existence. I'm not gonna base the existence of a social thing based off of like Webster.
Okay.
But, well, yeah. So then I would say that, like, with normal existing, then what happens is that's what kind of creates that split between the gender and the sex, because the sex is something that you're going to be born with. That's your bits. If you're born a male, like you're a male. Like if anybody came up to me, doesn't matter what they look like, if they were like, I was born as a male and I am now a female, I would say that's not right, because biologically that's not right. But your gender, which is like, and I know this is like a kind of, I hate using this word, I just can't find a better one to use, but like gender is kind of like your performance. Like it's how you present yourself. If there's like someone who was born a dude, born with a dick, but then presented themselves in a feminine way, put on makeup, put on a wig, like there was nothing that you could do outside of looking underneath to see what they have. If everything else like looks like a girl, then you're gonna be like, that's a girl, and that's like that. Just like to oversimplify it, that right there is just gender. That is the difference. Is like what we perceive someone to be versus what they actually are, and most of the time they're within sync, but sometimes not a lot. Sometimes they're not, and that's the.
And to me, gender is pretty much the same as sex. You
Like,
can
but it's
feel
not the
like a
same.
woman. You can dress up like a woman, but you're still a guy.
You're still a biological male. Yes. Like from your biology, scientifically, yes. But like from a social standard, if you're trying to present yourself more feminine, you are trying to perform more, just like I'm not going to go and wear a dress. I'm not like, and when I say performance, it doesn't mean that there has to be like intention necessarily. There usually is. But like when I go out, I wouldn't say that it is, but it isn't. It's not like, it's not like it's
He
intentional.
just lost his $5. Mom's moving the wood now.
When I chose to
not
wear
getting
this
$5.
shirt today, like I didn't want to wear my girlfriend's dress because, like, it's not that I want to look feminine, or want to look masculine. I don't want to look feminine. Like that would be, but if I felt like, and if everything in my brain like made me like, if I'm wearing a dress and that is what feels right, is to present myself in a feminine way. That's what gender is. It doesn't mean that I've just because I say this, like I am now full woman and I can get a period and I could do this and I could do that, and yeah, it's okay. Like this is just what the social standard is, which is like the normal. When I say standard, like that's what we like, because that's why it looks weird when dudes that don't try, if they don't put on their performance. Like if a dude just like wears a dress but he has a full beard, he's not putting on the performance. He's gonna get a lot of looks. He's gonna get a lot of like, well, what the fuck are you doing? Because that's not normal.
Mm-hmm.
But like if you're presenting yourself as a woman, you're doing what you can, like then you're going to be perceived as a woman without someone having to like look underneath the hood.
Wouldn't that sometimes when we would fill out some forms, it would say sex, or
Mhm.
sometimes it would say gender?
Yep.
Yeah.
I have that.
Yeah.
So why So that was treated the same then.
Yeah, because we looked at it as the same. Whereas now, the society, the
limited.
normal has changed to where that Venn diagram is moving a little bit to where sex and gender isn't nearly necessarily completely overlapped.
But why are we doing that?
Because we're getting more information on the brain and how people work, and because we live in a liberal society where we try to promote freedom, and with that freedom will come people that feel like they can express themselves better because they have the freedom to, and they don't feel socially outcasted to, and allowing people to do that lets people like find themselves more and not have to fit them in a necessary box. If you want my libtard answer.
So if I was a paramedic
Mm.
and I ran on a call,
Yeah.
and when I walked in, looks like a woman, acts like a woman,
Mm.
says it's having a miscarriage,
Mm.
and I lift a dress and there's a full-blown dick in my face.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why are we allowing society
Mhm.
to allow the gender definition to change to something like that? Because now it
Well,
affects other things.
What does that impact? So like continue that out. Like what happens next? So like he lives clearly.
You literally just wasted that paramedic's time when somebody could have got shot and down the street
Yeah,
and been
yeah.
on that call instead rather than looking at a dick down their fucking face.
Yeah, and it should probably be reported, and it should probably be like they should probably be looked at because like that's probably more. That there's probably more going on underneath that hood than like other hoods.
But we're
like,
allowing them to change their gender to do that.
yeah,
where
but
they
like
magically created this whole thing that they're not.
yeah, but do you think that
and then
represents?
created a entire scenario that
Uh-huh.
never needed to happen. Now could have potentially turned into something more drastic because they couldn't get to that call.
Yeah, and that's going to be one of those things, like I was saying earlier, where like yeah, there might be some negative outcomes, but overall, if like we if not promote it like 100% without any like data behind it to back it up, but like if you look at what does good and you do the things and you implement the acts that do good, which from what I've seen, the data shows like if you help them go through these types of treatments, depending on like the age, and we can get into that if we wanted to, but like. You give them the reassurance and you validate that like that's what helps, because when you look at the suicide population of this particular group of people, it's like very high, and there doesn't seem to be like we've done conversion therapy, like that doesn't work, like we've tried these other different types of things outside of just trying to help them like live through this.
We haven't had this problem before.
Well, it's been an issue that like has been documented. It just hasn't been looked at under this type of microscope. We've been like it's just been
No. What I'm saying is people portraying themselves more and more every day
uh-huh.
to now be part of this group
Mm-hmm.
and be a follower
Mm-hmm.
is now it's way bigger thing than it's ever been.
Well,
Because when people
we
were
do
doing
that all
this,
the time.
when people were gay
Yeah.
before,
Yeah.
and now people gay today, if you talk to an actual gay person their entire life, male or female, they don't want any of this LGBTQ. They don't want the parades. They don't want any of this. 90% of the people that are at these things are followers.
I would argue that's not the case. I don't like what
Where's
data
the
you
data?
Well, what data are you? I'm not saying that there is data. I mean, I'm sure there
This
would
is
be.
physically talking to gay people that have been gay their entire
Yeah.
lives, anywhere from 20
Yeah.
to 55.
Yeah, which is cool, but I don't go based off of like I try to not go just strictly based off my experience. If I have other data to look on, I'm sure that there's Pew research to show that like people that are part of the LGBT community and that do those things are also supportive of that community. I think that would actually, I would argue it's the complete opposite, and it would say like 90% of people within that community do support that. Do they like 100% support like everything that everybody says about it that claims to be in that community? Probably not. There's probably there are radicals in that community that like not everybody's going to agree with. But that's the same with every group of people, like white people, black people. Like there's always going to be radicals of a certain group of people, or like workers. Like we all do that. We're social people. Like we're going to otherize other people. Like we group ourselves, we tribe ourselves, we click ourselves. Like we do these things, but that doesn't mean that it's like a bad thing if like certain. But
Yeah, I'm just letting you spit your reasoning out. Let me back up on that situation. My scenario, I should say. On the initial phone call from the dispatcher, or from the person in the situation of the miscarriage, then that dispatcher back 5 years ago would have asked, okay, how old is this female? And how pregnant are they? Now, what does that dispatcher ask?
the same thing.
No. because their gender is
Mm-hmm.
a female, but their sex is a male.
Oh, then they'll probably just say this person. Who's the person?
They'll just say female, and now that's still a wasted call to go find a dick.
Oh, okay. Sorry,
I'm taking my scenario,
Yeah.
right, from the dispatcher conversation,
Yeah.
back and forth.
Yeah.
And if I said, hey, a 35-ish-year-old male
Yeah.
just got shot.
Yeah.
And if I said, based on looks, because
Yeah.
we can't determine it, if it looks full-blown like a woman or it looks full-blown like a man,
Hmm.
we're making the determination that it's a man or a woman. But the person making that call in my scenario
Yeah.
is probably somebody that knows that person very well.
Yeah.
And either they became the woman
Yeah.
or they magically fucked and thought they were pregnant or whatever it is. I really don't give a shit because
Yeah.
my point is at the end of it is still the same.
Yeah.
How does the dispatcher determine if that call is really worth it now or not?
I don't. Is that the job of a dispatcher?
They
Like,
do ask that, yes.
Yeah. Well, like they obviously want it. Like they're not just gonna let any call go. But like if someone seems sincere, like they have to do their job. They have to treat every situation. They have to be unbiased. So
right.
like.
But now should there not be criminal action against that person for
There should.
wasting
Yeah.
the time?
Like I would argue that you can make some if you draft it and it like looks good and it's like you could try to really eliminate any amount of like discrimination that can come from that unjustifiably. Then 100%. Like nobody should be calling and saying like, well, yeah, they're a female, and then they show up and it's not the case because like yes, that's wasted resources. Like it like
So why do we not implement that?
I mean we can. Who's saying?
Why do we not? I have my reason.
Because I feel like that's not an actual. Do you see that being an issue? Do you have data on like a lot of like trans people calling and saying, "Hey, I'm having a miscarriage," or "Hey, I'm having something only a female person can have"? But
Hey,
it's
I'm bleeding
actually-
out of my vagina
Yeah.
uncontrollably.
Do you think that actually like how much?
I don't know if there's true data on it, but I guarantee
Yeah, but
it
take
happens more often than not.
But take a guess, like out of all of the if you looked at the total population of trans people calling 911, how many do you think represent of like them saying, "Hey, I have this female issue, and it's not getting, and I need help with it"? Like, how often do you think that actually happens?
If I had to guess,
Uh-huh.
40%.
Why?
That's just my rough number.
Yeah, but why? Like, what do you use? Because like
Because they go out on so many other drastic and so far off the wall bunker of things to make themselves known.
How do you
whether
know?
it's at a rally that
Yeah.
they created,
Yeah.
that they are going to go attempt to talk shit to a Republican or somebody that believes in male female and want to argue points that don't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you can waste that amount of time at these rallies or these
Yeah.
interviews or these stand-ups where if I were to be on the podium and I have my views and I can sit here and talk and you got up and said, well, I call myself a woman.
Yeah.
And so now this whole thing is a waste of time.
Yeah.
If you can take that time out of your day to waste,
Yeah.
who's to say that you can't waste that time on that call?
Yeah, every group does that. You have people in every group that do that. But
Straight
like,
people don't do that.
wait, because there's no like straight group. No, like the group.
There
like,
is. You married to
wait,
a woman?
Wait.
Are you with a woman?
Do you gather?
Are you with a woman?
Yeah.
Are you with a woman? Am I with a woman? That's a straight
Do
group.
we gather on a straight? Nobody. We don't
We
connect.
don't. You're right.
Yeah.
We don't because we have no reason to.
Well, yeah, because like that's like the normal thing. You don't like group on normal
No.
things.
That's the only way society keeps going. That's not normal. That's the only way society keeps going
What do
is
you
by
mean?
a male and a female getting together to fuck.
okay. Well,
So the only way
What
you
does that
keep
have to do with
society
anything?
going is having straight people.
no. Do you think trans people can't have kids?
How do they have kids if they believe that they have a vagina?
It's not that they believe they have. That's what you're That's the issue. You think that these people are like batshit crazy. They don't think
They are.
That's your opinion. It's not that they actually are. They don't think they have a vagina.
Then why do they claim they're a woman?
When you say who, like when you're making these claims, like it's all of them. You're not saying all, but like you're making it seem like it's like so many trans people do this. When I look at like overall trans people, when I'm looking for this, I see it on Twitter. But I'm not going to say Twitter I'm not going to take any population of any person on Twitter and say I can now apply this to like everyday normal people. I'm not going to do that. Where are you seeing this like crazy influx of trans people and showing that you can then apply that to like every trans person on an average basis?
Okay, so you utilized Twitter or X as the example. So you go to YouTube, you go to Rumble, you go to
Yeah.
X, you go to TikTok,
Yeah.
you go any one of those platforms.
Yeah.
And they're claiming they're a woman.
And you will find crazy people from
And
every
they're claiming
group.
they're a man.
Yeah. So I would.
You have crazy people that are straight with
Yeah.
a woman or a man
Yeah.
because of their internal problems in the relationship.
Yeah.
They can gloat about it all they want.
Yeah.
But they're not striving and taking over the entire network.
What do you mean?
Transgender people, I could bet
Uh-huh.
that run majority of the population of posting something
Uh-huh.
on a platform.
Yeah. The majority of just everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably not X, but
Okay. Do you think that makes up a majority of trans people?
yeah.
Like you think the majority of trans people are crazy?
Or anybody that can call themselves bi or tri or whatever the
You
new
think
one was
they're-
we talked about a couple months ago that you sent to him. What the hell was that? What was that new magical one that they
Well-
came out with? Where
well,
they're
no,
no
that was
longer binary,
different.
they're
That
now
was
this
no.
one?
It was that was looking at attraction. That wasn't looking at gender. So there's three. There's sex.
No, there's not. Oh, okay. Okay, go ahead.
There's sex. There's gender, and then there's your sexual orientation,
No.
which is
doesn't exist. They don't ask that on an application.
Wait. Oh, wait. So that's the only thing that you base like true, honest things off of, is if it's on an application.
Okay. How did they base that application on? Your biological that you got
Yeah.
pissed out of your mother with,
Yeah.
that you were born with.
Yeah.
That's what it's based on.
Yeah. When I apply, but when I apply for a job,
Yeah.
they're not asking if I'm bi because
Yeah.
it doesn't apply to anything.
Right.
That doesn't impact my ability to get
Uh-huh.
a job. Like, my gender could, in theory, play into it, but like
Uh-huh.
my sexuality isn't like who I'm attracted to. So they're not going to ask that on an application.
Right.
Do you think that gay people don't exist?
Gay people do exist.
So then why are you saying the sexual attraction?
Because they're
doesn't-
still a male. So
Wait,
on
wait,
the
wait, wait.
application,
But that's separate. I'm saying there's sex, which is your bits, your dick, your pussy, your boobs, the things that you get from going through that hormonal wash when the sperm goes into the egg and it gets washed down by the hormones and you get your X and Y and yada yada yada.
I appreciate that explanation.
And make it for the viewers. But then you have sex, then you have gender, where it's a social thing, where like people that wear dresses and that smell nice and that have long hair and that have these qualities, if you take all these different circles, all these Venn diagrams, if you have enough of this, then what is normal for a woman, you are then a woman. That is gender. Sexual attraction is who you are attracted to. If you're gay and you're a dude, if you're gay, you like men. If you're a lesbian, you like women. You're a woman like that's. It's a whole other thing.
Why has this never existed prior to COVID?
It has.
No,
It
no.
has.
No,
Wait,
it
gay
hasn't.
people have been around. I promise for a very long time.
You're right, yeah.
So sexual attraction's been a thing.
I believe when I gave my conversations with people that were gay was
Yeah.
from 20 to 50. So
Yeah.
obviously it's been around before.
Well,
COVID,
you said before
so-
COVID because I'm talking about sexual attraction, and then you're saying why hasn't it been around since before COVID? It has. Sexual attraction's been around. People, gay, straight, bi. These people have been around for
Well,
ever since humans have been here.
yeah,
Yeah.
but you're saying that there's more than just those three.
Well, I'm saying, no. Like, those are the three things. Like, those are the three categories of like this topic. Like, there's who you're attracted to, there's what you are when you're born, like your biological, and then there's a social. So there's what you're attracted to, what you are biologically, and your gender. Those are like the three things. They can play off of each other. They can play into each other, but they're not all like they're connected, but they're all their own thing. And so then you ask the question, why hasn't it been the sexual attraction been around since before COVID? It has been. Unless you're just asking
I didn't
transgender
hold
in
on
general.
to. I didn't hold on to sexual transit. I didn't hold on to that.
Oh, you're talking about just transgender stuff?
You just sucked into that part. I'm talking about the entire thing.
Well, if you're talking about the entire thing, like it,
Obviously, we know gay people have been around for a long time.
yeah. Transgender people there's been like reports of,
Transgender people have been around
Yeah.
in some fashion
Yeah.
somewhere down the line.
Yeah.
But the growth of
Yeah.
them has drastically changed in the last 5 years.
yeah, just like when they legalized gay marriage and the growth of that community grew because people were more open to actually like reporting it and saying like, yeah, I am, because they weren't going to be persecuted or shunned or shamed or like given not as many negative consequences to admit it.
So you believe there was more transgender people in this world prior to us being more open to talk about it than there is currently today?
Well, no. Wait, what? What do you mean?
So when they made gay marriage legal,
Yeah.
you said the gay community felt comfortable. They came out.
Yeah, well,
Right?
you would have like not necessarily just
We-
gay, like you had like dudes that were bi that were probably more open to coming out too. Like you're gonna have that whole group as a whole is gonna grow because they're gonna be more open to actually like saying, yeah, I am, because like it's something accepted and I'm not
Okay.
gonna be shamed.
We did not make transgender marriage okay.
Yeah,
We still keep it to straight and gay as
Mhm.
by law.
but that's not. But gay and straight is not. That's again, that's sexual attraction. We're talking about gender, transgender. So we're talking about gender.
Mm-hmm.
These are the topics in the science. Like the gender part, like yeah, we didn't make any laws on it. We don't. The gay thing like just made it easier. It wasn't like okay, they made the law and now we see this huge boost. I mean, you
That's
probably,
what you just said.
Well, I'm saying that it would just when I say huge boost, it's not like the day after. It was just once you see that, you see the increase of people saying yes, I'm gay. It's not like it went crazy up, but it was just a trigger. It was a catalyst. The catalyst for this is there's just been more research, there's been more push, and then when the gay, like when being gay and being like lesbian and all that, when that was being more accepted, then it's like okay, well maybe let's look at like other aspects that may be more on a spectrum because maybe not everything's so fucking black and white. Maybe you're not just straight, like, or maybe you're not just straight or gay. Like maybe there's like nothing in our body is like that black and white. Nothing is like 100% yes or 100% no. Like there is variability, especially when it has to come to like social things and I mean even biological things, but I would say less so.
I don't know. If you're a dude with the pee-pee,
Yeah. You're a male, yeah.
you shouldn't call yourself a woman.
What if you try to act like one? And I'm not saying that that's the only thing that should.
You can dress whatever you want.
Yeah.
But don't call yourself a woman.
Well, but if
You're
I dress as a woman
Yeah.
and maybe I shave my jawline down, maybe
Yeah.
I present more feminine.
Right,
if I walk down the street, nobody's gonna be like, does he have or does that person have a dick?
Yeah, but
Is that what you do? When you look at like someone that could have a dick, do you say like, oh well, do they have a dick?
Fuck yeah, I do.
Well, you might.
I do.
But like,
That's a total dude.
normal
There's
people.
no way that's a fucking woman.
Well, if there's like ways that you could tell, but that's the thing. So like you having a jawline, if someone that transitioned has like a big jawline, then like it's like, oh well no, that's a dude, because normally in a normal standard sense, someone that has that jawline is a dude.
Yeah.
But like if everything else, they have tits, they're wearing a dress, they have the long hair, they have all the things, like then it's like, well, is it like? And the only reason that you might even question it is
So
just
you do
because,
it.
like, well, maybe it's just someone that has like a crimson chin jaw, like that just might be it. But like, it's just the fact that you're questioning, you not saying that it is 100%. That is the gray area. That is the spectrum. You have two like poles. You have like masculine and you have feminine, but it's not like if it was a graph, it's like, it's not gonna be like this where you have your male and female, where it's just like this. Like it's gonna look more like a parabola where you have two things where you have male and female, and they like oversect. There's gonna be things that like are really only looked at as female because of the
that
society
looks
we
like
live in.
female part.
Could be balls too. You never know. There you go. But then you're gonna have like
That's
this,
his intersect.
you're gonna have overlap of things.
Whoa, that's some.
Well, yeah, you
Crazy
can
pubic
have
hair.
intersect, but that's sexual. That's your sex. That's not gender, because you're intersex.
So male and female is sex or is it gender?
That's sex. That's biological.
So if you are a biological male, can you still call yourself a female?
You can't call yourself female, but you can present
Oh.
yourself as a girl,
Okay.
as a woman.
If you're a biological male, can
Yeah.
you call yourself a female?
No,
Why not?
because that's biological. That's just not true.
I
You
like
could.
that. I
I mean,
like
you could.
that.
You could
So I'm
call
with-
yourself that, but like it's not true. It's not gonna be true.
It's not going to be true, right?
Yeah,
But
and I don't think that we should
but why did
promote
we?
that.
But why did we add other to an application for male, female,
Because that's
or choose not
that's
to
their
answer?
gender. That's not their sex. That's
It
their
does
gender.
say sex. Depending on the application, back between 90s and till
Yeah.
probably
Yeah,
5
back
years
then.
ago,
Yeah.
it said male or
Yeah,
female,
because-
both gender or sex.
That's when the Venn diagram was. I feel like I should not be doing
Yeah,
this.
what is this?
Hey,
What is
that
this?
goes along
That's
with
when
your parts
the-
over there.
that's
You
when
like to
the-
intersect,
Yeah.
so you're part of the bi part.
What are you?
The Venn
Bye.
diagram. The Venn diagram.
What's your definition?
That's not a Venn
This
diagram.
is your this. Yes, it is, because
Let's
there's
say-
just there's a lot of overlap. You have your sex and your gender, but then as time has gone on, we have seen. Oh, wait, actually, it's not so black and white. It's not just so absolute. It's actually there's a lot of more gray area. There's a lot more distance between these two things. There might be a lot of overlap, but that doesn't mean that it's like one for one, because you can have someone that lives here, you can have someone that lives here, and like their sex may be like they describe all these or they describe all these, but you're also going to have people that are here that like they have
This
an
is when
overlap.
we need the GoPro.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Did you actually get it on?
Or just
Oh,
have like
well,
a
then.
just have like a smart screen.
So you said
So you-
a biological male cannot call himself a female.
Yes. If they do, then
This
I
is
would
perfect.
disagree.
So I'm with you on this.
I knew you would
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's very nice.
be. Yeah.
So you biological male.
I'm glad we had this talk.
You
I knew I could get you.
you're biological male. You cannot call yourself female.
Yeah. But you can
But
present
you,
yourself
your
as a woman.
gender
Yeah.
is a woman.
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
Well, what doesn't make sense? If I walk
Because-
down the street and I
because-
dress up, I shave my chin, I
Well,
do all these
so
things.
Can
you're
you be
gonna look-
one day and one another day?
I mean, if you present yourself, but I don't think that's how people actually do it.
Why is
I
that
think
okay? If they were to do that, why would that be okay?
Why would that? What's the bad that comes from that?
That today I'm
Yeah.
my actual male
Well-
self,
well,
and
no,
I
you're
dress
saying,
like a
like,
male,
can someone
and then
dress like a-
tomorrow
Yeah.
I shave everything
Yeah.
and I put some makeup on and I dress like a woman.
Yeah.
So it's
If I'm
okay
just
to-
doing it just to do it, like if I'm doing it because I
Can
have
you go
a
to work
mental
like that
issue-
every day?
Depends on the work environment, probably.
Well, but today I'm
Like in an average,
Today
in
I'm-
an average, you're probably gonna get looked at.
I'm
and you're probably
Jusha.
gonna
Tomorrow
get
I'm
pushed out.
Josh. Like it.
Joshuina.
Yeah, whatever,
No,
whatever you want to
I
call
mean,
it.
I wouldn't encourage that because I think if that's the case, you probably if that's something if you're not doing it just to be spiteful, you're not like if you're doing it and honestly, like, and you feel that that's your true honest, like, I think that there's probably more going on underneath the hood, and you probably need to get a little bit more help because that's not how it works. There's more stuff going on. But if you're gonna be crazy like that, or if you're gonna say like, oh, I'm a cat, or like I'm white but I'm actually black, like if you're doing like, and that's another example when people say like I can't be white and say I'm black, that's biological. Obviously, you can't do that. Being black isn't a social thing. I mean, to a degree.
Hold on. We're going all the way back down to dummy down it.
All right.
Again. So if you're a male.
Mhm.
No. If you're.
It's confusing. It is. I'm not saying it's not confusing.
It shouldn't be confusing.
It's not.
So
Well, why
if you
oh,
if you're a male
Mm,
and you say that my gender is I'm a woman,
mm.
where do you go pee pee?
Probably with what you best represent yourself as. So if you're a dude,
So you can go to that one and then go to that one.
well, again, if
Should
that's
that be
if
just
that's
sex?
someone if someone keeps switching, then again, I would say that person is probably not necessarily transgender, or they might be, but they just have a lot of
But
other.
even
issues.
if they don't switch,
Yeah.
if I have a male pee
Mm.
and I say I am a woman,
Uh-huh.
I go to
Female
male
bathroom.
or
Yeah.
female?
No,
Yeah.
female.
You would go to the
If I
if
have
you're
a-
presenting as a woman, then you would go into the
If
woman's,
I have this,
which is why we call it a woman's
If I have
bathroom and not a
this-
female bathroom.
if I have this, which one do I go to?
If you would go, well, it depends on how you're presenting yourself as, because
It
you're,
doesn't.
Why
Here's
should it
here's
matter?
here's my difference. So, in the world we live in today,
Uh,
you can be a school teacher,
yeah,
present yourself as a woman,
Mhm.
but on paper you're a man.
yeah.
Huh.
What bathroom are you going to use when you go to school?
Wait, I'm the teacher. Or I'm a student.
Teacher,
Why does that matter?
because
teachers have different bathrooms than students.
that doesn't mean that they always have to use it.
They
can still use
it's
the
usually
student's
frowned
bathroom.
upon for a teacher to use the same bathroom as a student. That's why
But
they have like a
they can
faculty
still do
lounge.
it. Okay, fuck it.
Okay, then-
Concert. I'm at a concert.
Okay.
I'm at a public event
All right.
of some nature.
Yeah,
I am dressed as a woman.
Yeah.
I call myself a woman.
Yeah.
And I have a dick.
yeah.
And now we end up in the bathroom.
And you don't have like a beard. Like you're actively trying to play the role.
You're trying to play the role.
Yeah.
And when my daughter comes out of the stall,
Yeah.
and you come out of the stall,
Yeah.
and you're zipping up your junk, and let's just, for some reason, the penis was still partially out.
Yeah.
And the daughter saw that because it's at eye level.
And they would be doing this after they got out of the stall that they have to close the door behind them.
Do you always close your zipper before you come away from the urinal?
There's a door. Like
No.
When I come out of the stall, yeah. When I'm coming out of the urinal, not necessarily. There's no urinals in a
Why are
woman's
you
bathroom.
even talking about this shit? Do you which one you go to?
What do you mean?
If you
We've
have a-
already said that.
If you look like if you're presenting yourself as a woman and you're doing your best to look like a woman and to fit the standard of what we deem as society right now.
present yourself as a freaking dog. It doesn't matter. If
But
you
that's
have
what I'm
this-
saying. That's a different thing. That's a species thing. That's a biological thing. That is more black and white. You are either a dog or you are not a dog. You are a male or you are not a male unless you're intersex. But that represents so little of the actual population that it's
still exists.
it's a misnomer.
Still
Yeah, but it's a
exists.
misnomer.
Still
In
exists.
data, you can have outliers. You can have things that don't necessarily fit the norm, but there's so much overwhelming data that like there is a norm that like that's just the norm. You could say that. You could say yes, like there is a male and a female gender. It's not perfect 100%, but you could say not gender, the sex.
I'm glad you said that.
You
Thank
could say
to all the viewers out there.
Well,
you said
yeah,
it.
because like because they're closely related.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
just because the diagram, like, yeah, you're gonna slip up, but just because you slip up, that's not like, oh, well, that he actually thinks that. Like,
Keep getting butthurt. It's okay.
Big
It's okay.
dumb.
Keep getting butthurt.
So
I
if you
do
have
my best.
if you have this
hmm.
or this, if you have this, where do you pee?
I mean, arguably, if you have that, you also have that, or at least one of them.
You could have both if
Oh,
that's your
Jesus
butthole.
fucking Christ.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
If you pee out of this,
Yeah.
or pee out of this,
But you
Peeing
could
out
have-
of your butthole, that's
you could
probably
have
not.
diarrhea.
where do you when you when you have this and you look like a woman,
Mhm.
where do you go pee?
If you look like a woman, then it would probably be best to go into a woman's bathroom.
Tony's
Why?
opinion is if you are male, born with a dick,
Yeah.
you look like a woman, dress like a woman, act like a woman, you go to a woman's bathroom.
It doesn't even matter what you're
That's
born with.
not
If you look
right.
like a
That's not right.
Well,
Tony.
wait,
Come
why?
on.
See?
Why?
That's not right.
Why?
Tony?
Why?
It's
Hang-
not
hang on,
right. If
hang
you
on.
have this,
Yeah.
you go to male.
Why?
With the dicks.
Why?
Because that's where they go.
Why?
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 Because it's. What do you mean why?
Wait, do you think we're doing it just because we have a dick? That would be so.
Yeah,
That's so.
That's why we have it split.
That's so
Dicks
stupid.
go
Wait,
here. Non-dicks go
wait,
here.
wait. If we were purely going by just like having a dick or a vagina,
Yeah.
we would have one bathroom like we
No,
used
we
to
have-
back then.
We have two.
What's back then?
Well, I mean, in Europe they have like co-gender bathrooms, and they've had that. It's not even like a liberal thing; like that's been a thing. But back then, like in the 1500s, where you just had literally just like you had a field probably outside of the main area where everybody would just have like communal shits.
They also didn't have toilet paper.
Yeah, no, it was a different time, but that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Like with the times change, like we've recognized, like, oh, okay, like we probably don't want like every single dude with like any woman that they can be. That we probably want like a little bit. I mean, I don't. You go to Europe, it's different, but like
Have you been there?
I'm from Europe.
I haven't been there. No.
Okay. So I can't take your facts or data.
Jesus, you suck.
Everybody can look it up, but that doesn't mean it's true. Wouldn't you have to take it from the word of somebody that lives in Europe or
yeah, but that's what
wherever?
you do for like anything. Like when I get like data, when I'm looking at data, like there is a little bit of like trust that like you're giving me like the correct data, that you didn't like mess with it, you didn't manipulate it. Like there is that trust. We
You
all have
hope.
trust. Yeah, just like when we buy food, like you trust that like the food market's not gonna fucking fuck you over or
No, I
whatever the
don't.
fuck. Well, you like
No, I
okay, I'm
don't.
not saying that you have like full trust, but like you're not gonna buy the food if you actually thought that like there was like a very high % chance that like it could kill you. Like you have some level. It might not be as high as other people, but you have a level of trust within something, and you don't know that it's going to be good, but you have trust that it is not at least going to kill you.
Yeah.
And
That's
so
drastic,
that's the
but yeah.
but that's the same with like
Completely
with
drastic compared to what I'm
because I'm
getting
trying to
right now.
well
but
because
yeah,
I'm trying to show you like I have to like yeah someone's going to tell me, but like 'cause
that's a
I'm not
far left thing.
I'm not doing the well yeah because you guys want to base it off your experience. You want to base it well okay I'm sorry I don't like
So do
saying
you.
What do you
So do you.
guys-
I base
Fuck you. If I made that argument, you would have said the same thing. I know you. I've had these arguments with you a couple times now. I know you would have stated something of that same nature that I just stated of have you been there. You would have asked the same question.
Wait, but if I've been there, I'm not going to then, I don't take averages of people and then apply it to an individual. So I'm not going to say, like, if the average woman's size, like size, like boob cup size is a fucking B, I'm not going to go into a date thinking, oh, she's probably a B. Like, no, because she's going to be her own individual person who's going to have, like, so many, I'm not going to take a general average thing and apply it to an individual. I don't like doing that. I might say like, okay, well, if I don't have any data, I think the only thing I can use right now is my experience. If that's the case, I'll try to say that and I'll try to be honest about it. But I'm not going to then say that that is as good as if I have data that comes from a reputable source or whatever you want to call it, something that you could trust. I'm not going to say that those are on the same footing. The one with data,
But you believe it's a reputable source. It doesn't mean the next person does.
yeah, but then that next person would just have to explain to me why they don't think, and then we can have that discussion on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We good?
No, we're good.
Okay.
Phone's still recording, so
Okay, cool.
yeah. Dominic just wants to play around with the GoPro because he can't understand why I don't want
Okay, well now it's actually so Dom. Dom, do you agree with me now? Are we on the same page?
He does not agree that
I don't agree that if
male-
if you have one of these,
You can say dick.
yeah, but this is cool. This is visual. I don't
You wanna
agree.
hold that next,
I don't,
Tony?
I don't agree with you, Tony, that if I have one of these, I should pee with females.
And you know what?
I don't agree.
That's fine, because if you ultimately agree with the ultimate point of just like that there is a difference, I'll take that
There
W.
is. I can say I feel.
Because that's
like
all I
I'm a
advocate
woman.
for is that there's a difference.
I can feel like I'm a woman, but I'm still gonna go pee with these guys.
Mm-hmm. So you want some? Okay, so
Like
say,
Mrs. Doubtfire.
say there's a guy, not a streamer. Well, he streams, but his name is Buck Angel, and I think he was the first person in California.
Like a porno name.
He was the first person to have. He was the first person to have like a sex change from female to male. He looks thoroughly. If I showed you a picture of him, you would never know that he has a vagina.
Uh-huh.
He's like a 40-year-old or maybe 50-year-old. Like he's like an old looking. He's the type of dude that you don't probably want going into a women's bathroom. So is that okay? If we have someone that like looks like a dude, acts like a dude, has dude tendencies from a gender perspective, but they have a vagina, well, fuck it. Let's just send them in with the 9-year-old girls, right?
And I think if it's a dude with this,
Yeah.
he pees with these.
Yeah. So if it's a dude with a vagina that looks like a dude and that like could
There's
like
no dudes with vaginas.
there are.
Dudes have
Wait,
these.
but
Hang on. So to your point, he has a vagina.
yeah.
So he's a lady.
Besides
Biologically, yes.
besides the opportunity, if this is going to take it far,
Mm-hmm.
besides the opportunity for him to finger fuck somebody, he cannot rape somebody with his dick.
I wouldn't even say that like that's my worry. My worry, because I don't think that actually happens in the sense of like trans people dressing up as trans, and like if a rapist is going to rape, a law isn't. We have laws against rape. Like if someone is like, well, if I want to rape a girl, so I'm going to like put on a thing, I'm going to put on like that person, even if we didn't make that law, they're still going to find a way to rape that person because they're a rapist. Like a rapist is a rapist. We don't like, when we create laws, we don't create rapists. We might create like potential opportunities, but like that person is still going to
Unless
like
you claim
rape.
psychotic because you're a male one day and a female the next day, and we allow that today, so then you go to a loony bin rather than jail.
You can't just like claim it. You have to. That has to be proven. You can't just say like, oh well, I'm like.
Well, if
we
you're
have,
a good enough
we have
actor and you've been
tests.
brainwashed long enough, then that's
If you're
good enough.
that intelligent to be able to do that, then like that you represent like a very little amount. We have pretty good tests to like determine like if someone is actually like lying. It's pretty easy to like that's why detectives. It's easy. That's why people say don't talk to cops, because like a detective can like figure out a lie pretty easily just by asking like and like distracting you, and there's methods to do that. Like that's not a hard thing to like figure out if someone's like truly crazy or not.
Do we switch to sports? What's up?
That one I might actually like probably agree with you a little bit more, because it's based on biology. Like it's like if especially if it's
Makes
like
sense.
football or a contact sport.
Why did they let that happen with that swimmer girl?
Well, like
Why?
with the
Yeah, why did they leave?
well because like she may represent.
Whoa! You chill with the sheet. Okay.
It's a dude. It's
Man.
a dude. Biologically, it's a dude. So not she.
Why
Well,
would
no,
they-
because that's how we use gender. We're not saying like that
no,
male.
No. We do not. You and many other people do. We do not.
Okay, wait. So when you go up to someone and you're determining whether to call them a he or she, you're asking what.
I don't determine that. I just call everybody dude.
Okay, but so
Bro,
wait, okay,
Bro,
sorry.
dude.
Let me extrapolate. If I'm not talking to you, and if I'm talking to a general, on average, the general human race, the general people of the world, if they're trying to decide, hey, do I call this person a he or a she? Is their first question
But
either?
why am I walking up to them saying, "Hey, he,"
if
or "Hey, she"?
Okay, so,
would I not
okay,
ask their
no,
name?
I'm sorry, you're right. Let's say we have a scenario where we have a robber. The robber is the transgender person, and they're running past, and you can't tell if they have a dick or not because they're fucking running. But they look like a girl, and that cop comes up to you and says, what did that person look like? I know that you saw it." They're not going to be like, well, I forgot to ask if they had a dick. They're going to say, no, they look like it was a woman, like because they look like a woman. That's how we determine. We
That's
don't.
the descriptor
makes sense.
Yes, exactly. We use words to describe people, and
based on the way they look.
And yes, that is gender.
No.
Wait. What is not gender about that?
No. In today's normal definition of that, that's what gender is.
Yeah.
For me, it's not.
Well, that's fine.
For him, it's not.
Yeah, but so you don't really like match the. I would argue then you don't really match like the current reality of how we understand the world from a scientific perspective.
Oh, I'm not taking this to science because I
Well, that's
don't
what I
agree.
like, based
I don't
on
agree
data.
with science data that's coming about that I can magically today, when sex and gender were the same thing, and then we magically turned into this day of age
We didn't, but
based on science.
We didn't,
because we've
but-
been studying this forever.
no, that's not true. Well, when we
Since the
study-
70s, we've been studying this.
Well, yeah,
I looked this up today.
Yeah.
So I could purposely have this argument.
Yeah.
Since the 70s, we've been having
that's
this
not forever.
forever. Before that, it was male or female. That's a long ass time.
Well, there's-
from the 70s to today is a lot shorter than from when time started with
Yeah.
male female
Yeah,
to today.
Yeah, which is totally fair. So if I go to like,
So for
But if I go to-
almost forever,
Yeah.
we've been male female.
But if I go
both
to-
gender and sex.
yeah, but if I go to Ireland, and I know I've made this argument with you, if I go to Ireland in the 1700s and I'm wearing a kilt, if I wear a kilt today, I'm probably not necessarily, and it's not like shown as like, if nobody knows that it's like I'm doing this because I'm Irish or I'm doing like, if it's just looked at as a dress,
It's not though. It's still
People
a kilt in Ireland.
okay,
It's still a
but
thing.
I'm talking about here because I'm not talking about Ireland. If I was talking about Ireland, I'd say, hey, in Ireland.
You
But
just said Ireland.
I'm saying if I were to like live in Ireland and I were to take that same thing and bring it here and I were to wear that kilt from the 1700s and I acted like an Irish dude in the 1700s, I wouldn't be looked at as much. I'm not saying I wouldn't be a dude, but I wouldn't be looked at as much if I walked around wearing something that looked like a dress. I'm going to be looked at as less of a man.
A kilt
less of
is significant. You can't just kilts are kilts. They don't change color. They don't change the way they look. They don't change anything else. So on your part, for who you are, that's a sad argument because a kilt has never changed.
Well, it's-
a kilt is still a
Well,
kilt.
it's like one example. If someone doesn't know that it's like a specific kilt, they're going to just look at it. Say someone has no knowledge of a kilt. They only have the knowledge of what we currently know today outside of knowing what a kilt is. If
They probably went to a
if
Democratic
I look
school.
at well, why would they go to a Democratic?
Because to not understand tradition and
Wait,
the entire world,
they would have a
and
better
everything else.
education because like in we're not even whatever.
Love it.
Whatever. But
Love it.
if someone has no knowledge of a kilt, they have no knowledge of like, oh no, that was seen as a masculine thing socially. If they don't have that knowledge and then they just see someone with the kilt, they're gonna be like, dude, why the fuck are you wearing a dress?
Yeah.
It's not a
Because
dress;
it's-
it's a skirt. But
Okay, I'm sorry. That's like
I'm
more.
with you.
Is that more or less manly than a dress? Does it matter?
no, I'm just giving a Tony argument to
okay.
this. That's all.
It's not a Tony
you would have
argument,
corrected
'cause I
me.
bring up
No,
regular
You would have
shit.
corrected me.
I bring up regular, like relevant shit. That
Oh,
actually has to do with
nothing
it.
that comes out of you is relevant. to me, none of it is relevant. We've agreed on very minimal things.
Yeah.
And so
because you
for
just don't agree.
right. So
Yeah.
to me it's non-relevant.
Yeah.
But I'm open to hearing you just like you're open to hearing me.
Yeah.
That's
Of course.
it.
Yeah. You're just wrong as fuck.
That's great. I agree with that you're wrong as fuck. So it doesn't matter.
But so then if I don't have a kilt or if I don't have knowledge of a kilt and then I see someone wearing something that looks feminine to me, I'm going to assume what?
It's a dress.
It's a dress. And I'm going to look at that person as what? Less manly and or
That's
more
what I would've-
feminine.
That's what I would have said. If I
Yes.
don't know what a kilt is, I would have said it's a dress.
Exactly.
Because
Yeah.
it doesn't. Yeah.
Like if I wear high heels tomorrow, do you think I'm going to be looked at as more or less of a man?
Less.
Exactly.
But do you have one of these?
I do have one of those.
So you're a dude.
I'm a male. A dude is more of a social term.
So this is a full-blown kilt.
Yeah.
Hot.
Yeah. What about it?
Does that look like a dress to you?
Yeah, that looks literally like a schoolgirl outfit with the fucking plaid and the fucking the knee-high socks.
Who is this? Dude or a girl?
It looks like a fucking thick softball player.
It could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? If you put pants on that, probably not. You're probably gonna not think as much nearly as like, oh yeah, that's a girl. You're probably gonna be like, no, that's probably a dude because wearing like pants is more of a. I'm not saying like, oh, if you wear pants, you're a dude, but like if you wear pants versus a kilt, you're gonna be looked at more as a dude than if you were wearing a kilt.
How about all
because
those-
that's how gender works.
Okay, but how about all those videos of those guys being bent over in their trunk in yoga pants?
What about it? Yeah,
That
that's the
males
same.
believe
That's literally
that
the
they're
same thing. Yeah,
female, but
They're-
they're
yeah.
not. Yeah,
yeah,
So
that's a
pants,
that's a
right.
gender thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
no,
bending
no,
over.
no, no,
they're
no.
wearing skin tight
No,
feminine
they're
clothes.
doing it
because-
as jokes. To
Yeah.
make fun of.
Yeah, but
guys that are gonna
you're
hit on a
unfortunately
guy.
making my argument because you're literally showing that like if someone shows them off wearing skin tight pants, men don't tend to wear skin tight pants. Some do. I'm not saying that they can't, but on average,
They have.
I didn't say that they don't. I'm saying that they, on average, do not wear skin tight pants. If I go into work on Monday, the majority of the guys in there are going to be wearing jeans or like loose fitting, not like skin tight things. If a guy's wearing skin tight pants, your automatic thing is like, oh, he's gay. Like or at least it's like a thought that could, at a much higher potential, come into your mind as versus someone seeing with just regular jeans on.
Yeah.
So someone bending over wearing yoga pants, if they're bending over and they look like a woman because they're wearing skin tight pants, and a guy's like, oh shit, she's thick as fuck, and he's fucking looking, it's because he thinks he is a woman. Because socially, we look at someone that wears skin tight pants, bent over, looking thick, as a woman. On average, a guy's not going to do that because that's not normal. Guys don't normally do that. And that's what makes gender different than sex.
Nope. I'm not going to agree with you.
Why?
You can give as many examples that you'd love to have.
What's something that I
with
could tell you that would convince
nothing.
me? But don't you think that it's important that when we evaluate, like if you gave me if someone came out tomorrow, or if you had a bunch of like studies and like over time that came out and said, actually, like we've looked at it, we've done a bunch of tests, like this really is a social thing, and like we can, if we push back against it, and if we do this way of doing this therapy, like this will have, they don't need to transition, they don't need to have surgery, they don't need to be validated as the opposite sex, and it'll make them commit suicide at less rates. I would 100% be like, fuck yeah, let's jump on board. I would drop all of my shit because I'm not attached to like what it is. I'm attached to the outcome. So if you're not able to like come up with something like, well, this would change my mind, that's not good, because then you're not going to be open to things that actually could help.
If you're born with a dick,
Yeah.
you can be gay. I'll agree there. But I'm not saying that you
biology.
can magically be
Yeah.
transgender
Yeah.
and dress as a female
Yeah.
day in and day out
Yeah.
and use a female bathroom with a dick.
Why?
I'm never going to agree to this. Ever.
But so do you not agree that gender and sex are different?
I do not.
Why? Because like again, if I wear the dress and I walk down and I have everything that makes me look like a woman, the only thing that isn't making me a woman is like my biological thing. Everybody's gonna look at me as a woman, right?
If you shaved that mustache,
I shaved everything. I did.
and you
everything.
had, let's call it a bob cut or a little bit
Yeah.
longer hair,
Yeah.
I'm going to look at you back. That's a dude dressed in a
Okay, but if
fucking
I
dress.
shave my chin,
No. I'm saying you can look as much as you want to think
Okay.
you look like a woman.
okay,
I'm going to tell you, you're not a woman.
all right, you're right. Okay, let me take
No,
someone.
no. You don't have to agree that I'm right. I'm telling you that I'm not going to agree to anything on your gender side of anything in any part of any conversation we ever have.
Okay.
I don't care if data comes out and Tony Sawyer believes that data.
I don't need data for this one. I don't need data for this one.
Well, that's
If
that's
I
how
took
you
someone,
got this
if
argument.
I took someone and say I broke every child law that you possibly could, and I raised this person and they were born a dude, but I raise them as a girl, I raise them as a woman, I get surgery for them, I make them the only thing that you can conceivably, they act like a woman through and through. You could not tell them apart from an actual woman. The only thing that you could is if you were to able, like, look at their biology or just look underneath the hood. Nobody is going to look at that person and say that that's a dude. Nobody. Like,
I am. I do.
If you know if you know their biology, if you know they have a dick, if you don't know, there's no part of you that could be like, yeah, that's a dude.
Yes, there is.
How are you going to know?
Your facial structure, your eyes,
I'm telling
your
you,
nose.
surgery. You got it done. You got it done.
Then it looks like a woman.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
then it looks like a woman.
Yeah, and if they're walking down the street, you're not gonna say that they have a dick.
Right. Well,
You're
yeah.
gonna say that they look like a woman. Just admit it.
There's plenty of plastic surgeries that get plenty fucked up that I've
and
seen.
we did the science and we perfected them. And there's nothing. The only thing that you can tell is either taking their cells and looking under a microscope to see if they're an X or a Y, or if you look under and see if they have a dick. That's the only two things you can do.
Right. So visually,
Yeah.
I'm going to say it looks like a woman.
Yes, because that's how social standards work.
Today.
But
But
that's
there's
how
for
it's
no
always
reason-
worked. Just like the kilt, we didn't look at a guy in Ireland in the 1700s and say that's not masculine. We looked at that saying, "Oh, you're wearing something in free balling? That's fucking badass as fuck." We do that now. It's like, what the fuck are you doing wearing a tutu to work, dude? What the fuck?
Well,
Especially-
tutu's exposing, but I get your point.
Yeah, like it changes. But just because it's fluid, that doesn't mean like it doesn't exist or that it's not true or it's not valid.
No,
just means
because
it changes.
this is based on tradition.
yeah,
Somebody wearing a dress today is not based on tradition. Because traditionally, a woman was dressed in a dress. And a man was in a suit or a button-up and
Yeah.
pants of some nature.
Yeah.
Traditionally,
Yeah.
we look at a kilt. What do they wear? The Islanders have their big goat, or not goat skin, sheep fur fucking uniforms and everything else that they wear, that could be looked at as a tight bodysuit to some people
Yeah.
if they don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's actually called. But traditionally, that's always been there.
Yeah.
So because I don't know traditionally of what it is, I might take it as a feminine thing. But I do know what it is traditionally. Traditionally, in the Midwest, we have never seen a man wear a dress day in and day out.
Yeah.
It's not tradition.
Yeah.
So to back to your point of the kilt,
Yeah.
I'm going to bring the tradition argument behind that kilt.
Yeah, and you're proving my point because yes, traditionally here, someone in a kilt isn't looked at as like a man. If you wear something,
Yes, it is.
Okay,
In a kilt. Yes, it is.
I'm sorry. In a vacuum, if you took the knowledge away of someone knowing, like people, if you took the knowledge away of like men, like okay, like say back then.
How about you just say skirt? Because kilt's a terrible fucking
Okay,
thing.
s-
Because
well,
you
well,
weren't taught
well-
you weren't taught history then in your fucking school.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to what I'm trying to show you is that it is a social thing. It's because you were told, hey, men wore kilts. If you were not told men wore kilts, and the only knowledge you had is dresses and skirts and like anything where you're freeballing like that.
But I'm not basing it upon that.
But that's
we
what I'm
have
saying.
this based upon knowledge of what you're taught in school
Yes.
and growing up.
Yes, and if you didn't teach,
So unless you were buried underneath a fucking rock
Yes.
your entire life,
Yes.
and you poof popped
Yes.
out, and you
Yes.
looked at this thing with
Yes.
some titties and said that doesn't have the same parts as me.
yeah. The point is literally right here. You're literally saying, yes, if we socially didn't teach people about the gender and how the gender applies to certain articles of clothing, they wouldn't know. Yes, that's literally what I'm saying. Yes. Socially, if you didn't teach someone, that's what makes it not inherent. It's a social
Yes.
thing. They're
Yes.
not going to biologically
Yes.
know about the kilt.
Yep.
If you don't teach them about the kilt and then they see someone in a kilt and all they have is like the current today American standards, they're going to think that person is wearing a skirt or a dress. They're going to look at them as less of a man because they don't have the knowledge, the context, the social context of knowing that men back then wore things like that. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Okay.
That's gender.
No.
Why? What's wrong with that?
Can't you just call it something else?
No,
Not gender?
no, because we're not going to be fucking pussies and hide behind shit. Because if it is true, then it's just fucking true, and you got to fucking accept it. Even if it takes a while, you got to just fucking accept it like a fucking dude.
No, I don't.
Well, you don't have to, but I would argue, like, as a man,
No, I
if you're
don't.
shown evidence to be shown otherwise, and you can't say the other, and the only thing you're going to base it off of, well, in my experience, then that's fine. You could be conservative like that, but, like, you're not going to come to nearly as many, like, actual honest truths as someone that would take the route of being more open to that.
I can't wait to have this conversation in 5 years from now about gender all over again and how we switch back to just male female and how we look upon it.
Yeah, because if there was data that was shown that that's actually the way that it needs to go, then it's like, well, we screwed up, but we didn't have the data at the time to know. So yeah, if the data shows that like us doing this is actually causing more harm, which everything that I've seen shows that's not to be true, the steps that we've taken in the last 5-10 years, but if there's more data that comes out later that shows actually this is creating a lot more harm, then 100% I'm going to say, well, yeah, at the time, the process that I took to get to that conclusion showed me that it was good. The data, I didn't rely on my feelings. Well, I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, it's all feelings. But, like, I'm going to do the proper steps to look at the data. I'm going to look at the evidence. I'm going to look through it. I'm going to have debates. I'm going to have talks with people. And I'm going to come down to this. I'm not going to say, well, because I feel uncomfortable with my daughter being in the same room as a fucking dick that could be underneath a dress, I'm going to just decide my whole fucking view on this topic. That's not how I'm not saying that that's what you're doing, but I'm saying, like, I'm not going to take my emotions or my experience and like only do based off that. I'm going to look at data, how much good we can get out of things and what's just best for everybody. And if like someone being allowed to wear a dress, go in a bathroom, take a fucking tinkle, come the fuck back out, because that's all they need to fucking do is to use a bathroom and feel fucking comfortable, because that's what 99% of people want. It's just feel comfortable fucking taking a piss or shit. Then fucking let them do it. As long as you're not making people uncomfortable. But if you're only uncomfortable because like there might be a dude in here, like that's always a thing. There could always be a dude just hiding. Like a law, making a law like where we're gonna make laws against in the bathrooms. Yeah, that's totally stopped the rapists with making all the anti-rape laws.
Yeah.
So what's wrong with my argument?
I'm not accepting sex and gender and what the definition of what people believe today is it.
I'm not saying it's it. I'm saying that that's just what we currently know, and it's the best representation. It's the
No,
best
it's
model.
what we've created. We've created this. This isn't...
Well, yeah, because we create gender. Like, we create the social aspect of gender. If like you just said, like
Tony,
like
you
we
have a
wear
daughter?
kilts, we
Tony,
wear,
you have a daughter one day.
that's not going to impact because again, if
Why
the
won't
date
it?
because I'm not emotionally driven in that aspect. I'm not going
Yes,
to be
you are.
like
You said everything's feelings.
at the end of the day, like, because you have there's some level of like, well, you don't
level.
actually know the data, so you have to trust people to actually make that jump, or even if it's not data, like the evidence that you're using, there's some amount of trust that has to go on. But if you just throw everything out, then it's like, okay, well, then what the fuck, you can't use anything.
I'm not throwing anything. I'm not throwing everything out. I'm throwing out that I believe in male female.
Yeah.
And I believe in that you can be
And so
a
do
female and be gay.
transgender people also believe male female. But they also just believe that like it's different than gender. That's it. That's the only difference.
That is different than gender.
Yeah.
Not sex.
Sorry, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sex and gender.
All right. I'm just making sure.
Yeah.
I want to make sure you get yourself correct. on
It's what
this.
that's what happens
Yeah.
when you have something that looks like or is
I wanna make
acting
sure you
like
got
the same
yourself
word,
correct.
and the social implication of it is the same word, but then over time, like you're gonna
Over time, we created a different definition.
yeah,
for it.
because that's what social construction is. You socially construct things, which is what gender is.
to figure just to figure
Just
things
because
out
it
in general.
aligned with
just to figure things
sex.
out in general.
Well, yeah, that's what we do as humans. We figure
Yes,
things out. We
right.
create words to be descriptive to describe things so that we can communicate better.
But how do we change a definition over time? Why is that okay?
Why? I would never. Why is it not okay? Well, like because if
We
it
can
fit-
change the definition
because
of a
it,
word,
because a
and that's
definition
okay?
a definition is an absolute. Where from nature do I know that like a word means something? I don't look to nature. I look to our understanding of the word. It's just like literally and figuratively. They used to back then be switched. You wouldn't say like, oh, I literally did it. You would say I figuratively did that. But it got changed so often that it's like, well, we're actually going to change how this word is used because so many people have switched over to instead of saying figuratively, they say literally and vice versa. That's
No,
socially
that's just the
that's
usage
what
behind it.
word-
That's not the definition.
Yeah, but
the
word-
definition is still there. The usage of it
we
is different.
created the definition. So
We create. You're
so
right.
we can
did.
change the definition because we created
Why is that okay then? Why do we even
Why is
bother
it not
having
okay?
language if we can just magically change a definition based on society?
it. No, you're right because we have just stayed constant. We talk the exact same way with the same words, with the same verbiage, with the same vernacular. We talk the same exact way as we did in 1796.
When was the dictionary first published?
Why do we have to go based off a dictionary? We created the
It's
dictionary.
data.
We created the dictionary.
Exactly.
Yes, and we can look
So
back at
wouldn't
other
that be-
dictionaries and be
wouldn't
like,
that be
oh wait,
original
this
words?
word in the 1700s when we first made the dictionary, it meant this, but now in 1800 it meant this, in 1900 it meant this. Words change. That they change with the times, and like they don't need to necessarily the definition.
Then why do
doesn't-
we create a dictionary?
to represent? Why do we even create textbooks to represent the most current model of how we best understand the world? Like that's why we create everything. Like we create art to show like to be like physically or to show like physical expression of how we feel or whatever fucking motherfucking artists do. Like we create these things. We show these things. They change over time. Art doesn't stay the same. People don't stay the same. Like things move. We're fluid. That doesn't
Should
mean
the original word not be there and something else be coming about it?
it depends on the context and how like it's trying to get changed. If like the majority of people are still saying if like they're still using it, if a medical sense is using it, like if everybody else is using it, like sex and gender are the same, then like okay, you could still treat it the same. But now that's where we were here, where the Venn diagrams were a lot more overlap. But now we're starting to see like as we learn more information, just like any topic that comes up with anything in the world, the more information we learn about it, the more we probably realize it's actually not as black as white as we thought it was. We don't like between black people and white people, we thought that there were like crazy differences. There's really like not that many differences once we actually like bring it down. We're trying to like, oh well, let's like measure the head. There's going to be differences between people, but like to the degree of what people back then used to say it wasn't nearly as much.
But there's still a difference between black and white people.
Yeah. And but
There's no definite
but
to what the difference is.
But our definition of black people has changed over time. Like these social constructs that we
a
build.
black person is a black person. A white person is a
If
white
you
person.
go to
A
Europe,
brown person is a brown
that's
person.
not true. That's only in America. I'm
No,
sorry.
it's not.
I'm not.
If you're black, you're black. If you're white, you're white.
They don't look at it like that in Europe. They don't look
Not-
at it like that.
No other country does besides us.
Yes. It's a socially constructed thing. We use our language based on how we socially and people around us in our country use it.
If you had to
If you
describe
go to
me,
Europe,
what color am I?
You're white.
If I was in Europe and I said, what color is that guy? He's black.
They're not going to say color. They're going to say like, well, it's probably more about your nationality because there's so many different fucking types of white people that we're able to group each other.
He's still black.
He's still black from our
Because
standards.
it's based on skin color.
But in Europe, that's not.
My windows are open. I'm going to close them before the rain hits.
Oh shit! It's picking up.